G'day everybody, Mark here. Look, I'm just going to give you a run through on my testing program, not just the process, but also to give you a bit of an idea of what's included in the testing, because I know a lot of people order the testing think it's just the bloods, and it's certainly a little bit more than just the bloods. So I'm just going to give you a run through the whole process and an overview of what's actually included in the testing. All right, have a look at the top left here. This is biosynergypro.com. All right, now this website I cannot at the moment post that in Facebook because they banned the link. So you're going to need to type that in manually. But that's the address you need to go to access the ordering page for for the testing. As you can see here, and the other thing too, I'm going to make an announcement right now that I'm reducing by 25% the cost of my testing as a special. For the immediate future anyway. While I know everyone's struggling a little bit with finances and whatnot, everyone's taking a bit of a hard hit financially, including us here. So I brought that price down, and you can see from this page here that we've got down here, we've got the special price down to $149 Australian, which is a very good price. So just know that's going to be available for the foreseeable future. As long as I'm supported through this, I'll keep it up and running. All right, so this is a page you come to. You just need to scroll down. You can see a couple of videos which you've seen elsewhere, I'm sure, on the Facebook group. If you scroll down, you can just get a little bit more information about what am I looking for? What are we testing for here? Like I said, it's not just the bloods, but it's also a number of other things too. And you can scroll down here and have a look. I've also got a bit of information here about the testing process. Have a look, so you just get your head around the process. Okay, it is a process. It does take, it does take a little bit of time. It depends on where you're living, because if you live in the US or you live in the UK, it can take a little bit longer for the whole turnaround to happen. But this sort of outlines here what the process is and what you can expect. And down here, you can actually order the testing. All right. So once you've ordered the testing. We can come up here. This is the email you get sent, all right? And please read the email that I send you, because there are some important links here, okay? Especially the link to the testing, which is this one here, this blue one here, okay? That's a link for the testing. And also down here, you've got a link to the video that explains how to do the blood testing, all right? The little blood sample. It's just a very simple pinprick on the finger. All right, so I just wanted to highlight, just to make sure you understand, please link on that and please click on that. And also just understand that, it's going to take a couple of weeks sometimes to get my blood kit to you in America, especially America or elsewhere out of Australia. It can and it can, depending on how long it takes you to do the testing, it can obviously take another couple of weeks to get back. Okay, so what do we do? What are we offering in this testing? Well, first of all, the bloods, and most of you are aware of the bloods, and I'm just going to give you an example of what you get. Okay, this is an example. I've put some samples in here of different things so you can have a look at. But one of the first things I run through when we do the consult is the bloods. And you look at the top left-hand side, you can see it's nice and clear. There's very little blemishes and whatnot. You've probably heard me talk about this before. And depending on what we see in the blood can tell me different things about, where the stress is and how serious it is. I'm just going to quickly whisk through this just to show you. And if you look at number one, you can see all these these little black specks. That's parasites. We've got a little bit of cardiovascular stress here with these darker areas. Here in this number two, you've got some lymphatic stress, and you've also got some, you can see those little bars here. This is what we call viral bars. So there's some viral activity going on here. Number three, we've got some dysbiosis, that darker center there. Come down here a little bit more. Number four, we've got some lymphatic stress. Again, see that ring of white puddles there? Coming through a little bit yellow, but they're really white. Number five, we can see some quite serious degenerative stress here going on, oxidative stress. And when we see that, it's a bit concerning, because this is what we're talking about, precancerous conditions. For sure, because we're moving into, you can see those white patches. The larger they get, the more serious the degenerative condition is, and if they get really bad, which we'll see in a moment, we'll have an example of what it looks like when we actually have someone with cancer. Come down here a little bit more. This is some liver spots here. See those two little spots on the left-hand side? That's liver spots. Number 7, bit of oxidative stress, but you can see those little black spots everywhere. That's parasites. Now we come down to number 8. Now this is from a client who had cancer. Okay, so look, one of the most powerful aspects of this testing is to pick up degenerative diseases way in advance. Okay, we're looking into the crystal ball of healing here and what's going to happen in the future. Sometimes we can pick things up, absolutely years in advance, and this is why I highly recommend you do this testing, because it's amazing how many times I actually pick up precancerous conditions and give the client time to turn things around before it becomes a problem. Number 9, you can see those little spikes coming out of those little white puddles. That's liver spikes, so another example of liver stress. Come down here on number 10, those little dark areas, that's cardiovascular stress. Little line there, that's some structural stress there. Can't tell anymore, but it's structural. It's probably neck, head or shoulders. We come over to number 11. There's a very good example of structural stress. That line and that little protrusion out here on the top of this sample here is showing me it's the head or the neck. It's incredible when you see how accurate this can be. Okay, that's the blood. So look, the first thing I run through is the bloods. And remember, when I'm doing this consult, I'm taking you through everything and I'm explaining everything bit by bit. There's nothing left untouched. So it's not just a consult as in, well, this is what's going on. It's an educational process as well. Okay, so the bloods, that's the first thing I go through. And then when you do your self-testing and questionnaire, so we get the bloods, and there's also some self-tests to do, blood sugars, breath rates, pHs, pulses, and whatnot. And when you've done those and answered a pretty extensive questionnaire, what we get next is this, what we call the imbalance guide. All right, and you can see all the red boxes. As you can probably imagine, the red boxes are biomarkers out of whack. Now, you don't need to read them, but I just want to show you the overview there. Now, you think about looking underneath the bonnet of a car, and we all know there's an engine there, and that engine has a number of components, and those components need to work together in sync, everything working together for the engine to work properly. And it's no different to us. We have healing mechanisms within our body, if you like, a healing machine, and that's made up of a number of key components that must be in sync, that must be balanced for the body to actually get to the point where it can start healing you. And this is what this page really represents, the healing mechanisms. You can see, and there's a hierarchy here too. You can see here number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So there's a hierarchy in everything I do here. The most important thing to do, we obviously have to make sure we open up pathways. We lay the groundwork, we build the foundation. And that starts with making sure, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but just give you an example. Number 1 is all about electrolyte status, mineral status. Now, we don't have electrolytes, we don't even have power. And if we don't have power, how is anything going to work? It's not. And it's the first thing that I test. Okay, because obviously, like I said, if we don't have power, what's the point of doing anything else? So that's number 1. So I work through this sequence and I take you through every one of these things, every one of these boxes, and explain precisely why they're out of balance, if they are out of balance. And in a minute, I'll take you through some recommendations which will give you the answer to how we fix these things. But so number 1 is electrolyte status. Number 2 is cell membranes, our circadian rhythm of life. You think about the sun coming up in the morning and the sun going down at night, the circadian rhythm of life. Our cell membranes open up in the morning and our cell membranes close at night. And if we have any imbalance there, we're going to really run into problems. So you can imagine if the sun didn't come up tomorrow morning, what an effect that would have on the environment. It would be disastrous. And it's the same with us in our body. If our cell membranes don't cycle properly, we're going to have this potentially disastrous consequences. It can really rock the boat. And cell membranes are all about lipids, fats, and when we've got problems there, we'll probably have problems with liver and gallbladder and whatnot. And then we come down, you've got energy production, and then we've got the nervous system, acid-alkaline balance, and then of course down the bottom here is digestion. And most people I'm going to work with are going to have digestive issues. I guess the big question is with digestion, everything gets back to digestion. But the big question is, how long has digestion been out of whack for, And what other systems has this issue pushed out of balance that you can't necessarily get back into balance just by fixing digestion? And cell membranes and electrolyte issues are two of the big ones that I come across all the time. All right, so I take you through all of this. All right, talk through every one of those red boxes and explain precisely what I'm coming up with. Okay, so we've looked at the bloods, we've had a visual look at things, we've looked at the numbers, so we've got some numbers, so we're looking at two different perspectives. Also through the consult, I'm also talking to you, I'm getting some feedback, we may make some changes because I'm not going to learn everything just through this questionnaire, we learn a lot. And then what I come up with is what we call the recommendations or the protocol, which is customized to everybody. And as you can see, on the left hand side here, these are the recommendations, and I've also put links in there so that you can actually go and have a look to find out where this product is. When I put a link in here, it's not just a matter of, oh, well, you must buy that product. It's really there just for you to go and have a look so you know what I'm talking about. I know that product's okay, it works okay, but it's obviously up to you, you know, if you have a preferred brand or whatever. Now, as with everything I do, as I mentioned before, everything I do is focused on a hierarchy, okay? We've got to lay the groundwork, and you'll notice on the left-hand side, right at the top, we've got things like grounding, we've got things like making sure we're drinking enough filtered water, okay? Because we're electrical chemical beings, all chemistry happens, we need some fluid, we need the hydration, we need to be grounded, we need to have electrical balance, and that's why that's right at the top. And as we move down, these are quite common to everybody. But as we move down, we start moving into some specifics according to the client that we're talking to. And with this instance, we've got parasites, so we need to do a parasite cleanse. So we've got some ornithine to pull out the ammonia and whatnot. And as we move down, yeah, we get more and more specific to that client. Okay, so I talk you through every one of these items here. I don't recommend the product without explaining precisely what that product is for, what is broken, how is it going to fix, and how will you know it's going to be, how do you know when it is fixed? Okay, now I could give you a list a mile long of some wonderful things you can do, but through this initial process, this initial testing, I come up with a prioritized list which is sort of doable for most people, that can get you back on track and start getting you moving forward. Okay, so I explain everything, and right down the bottom here, you can see that I've made a number of notes. What I'll do, I'll go through and just make notes based on your questionnaire. There are some things you answer on the questionnaire that I can't measure. They're just maybe just textual answers. So I'll just go through and I summarize everything I've come up with your questionnaire. Okay. And that's about it. You know, like it's an hour-long process. Like I said, I explain everything. I explain everything in detail, and it's also very educational, because my big thrust here, my big aim here, is obviously to be able to educate more than anything, because it's really important that you start taking some of this stuff in and you start understanding the importance of, you know, when I'm talking about pHs, when I'm talking about sugar readings, when I'm talking about blood pressures. I try and just do a little bit of education there, just give you a little bit more information and empower you a little bit more, so that you can go away and you don't necessarily have to do my coaching program or anything like that, for you to be able to take control and start moving forward and be able to measure some pretty basic biofeedback readings like pHs and like blood sugar readings that can give you an idea of on your progress and whether you're doing the right things or not, or if things aren't working and whatnot. And I guess that's about it. I just wanted to sort of cover that, because I know a lot of people, clients that order my testing, they think it's the blood only. And look, the bloods are wonderful. Everyone wants to see the bloods. But doing the bloods only on their own is something that I don't like to do, because I like to look at everything. I like to look at the numbers as well, and I like to talk to you as well. Okay? So that's what's included. And like I said, from right now, today, I can't remember the date, I think it's about the 9th of April. I'm bringing the price down to 149 Australian dollars. You'll have to convert that to wherever you are. But look, jump on it. It's very, very powerful. You're going to discover things you've never discovered before through other testing. I can almost guarantee you that. And you'll have an educational experience. Okay, thanks for listening, and I hope you got something out of this.